Dad, don't come to my wedding and Vanessa hates you and I don't want any problems on that day. Those were the exact words my son, James, said to me over the phone. Just like that. Blunt, no consideration, as if telling your own father he's banned from your wedding is the most normal thing in the world. My name is Robert Miller. I'm 68 years old, living here in Cleveland, Ohio. I worked my whole life as a mechanic and I thought I'd been a good father. So listen to this whole story because what I did after hearing those words changed everything forever. And at the end, you tell me, what would you have done? Comment what city you were listening from and share this with anyone who needs to hear it. Let me tell you how it all went down. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was at home, watering the plants on the patio. It was hot, one of those heavy, humid Cleveland days that just sticks to the back of your neck. The phone rang. I saw the name. James, my son hardly ever called, always busy, always in a rush. But when I saw his name, I smiled. I thought maybe he wanted to visit, maybe come by for the weekend. Hey, son. Dad, I need to talk to you. His voice sounded strange, tense, like someone rehearsing something they don't want to say. Tell me, son, is everything all right? Yeah, well, Vanessa and I set a date for the wedding. It's going to be December 15th. My heart skipped a beat. My son was getting married. Of course, I was thrilled. He's my only son. My mind raced with thoughts of the suit I'd buy, the speech I'd give, of hugging him and telling him how proud I was. That's fantastic news, James. Congratulations, son. It's about time. So tell me, where's it going to be? Do you guys need help with anything? Silence. A long, uncomfortable silence. The kind that tightens your chest and you don't know why. Dad, Vanessa and I talked it over, and we decided something. What's that, son? We'd prefer it if you didn't come to the wedding. I didn't understand. I truly didn't. I thought I'd heard him wrong, that the cell signal was breaking up. What? I didn't hear you clearly. We don't want you to come to the wedding, Dad. This time it was crystal clear. No room for doubt. My son was telling me not to come to his wedding. His wedding. I don't understand, James. Why? It's just, Vanessa doesn't want you there. She says you've never accepted her, that you always make snide comments, that you make her feel bad. I was speechless. Snide comments? Make her feel bad? James, I have never once disrespected that girl. Never. Well, that's not how she feels, Dad, and I'm with her. She's my future wife. I have to support her. Support her? As if I were the enemy, as if I were some stranger, not his father. And what exactly did I supposedly say to her? Oh, Dad, you know, your comments about her clothes, about her job, about her being on her phone all day, about how women were different back in the day. All of that. Ah, of course. I'm the bad guy because I once mentioned that I didn't think it was right to show off everything on the internet, because I asked if she really got paid to upload videos of herself dancing, because I said that in my day, families were more connected. James, I'm your father. You can't leave me out of your wedding because of that. It's already decided, Dad. I don't want to argue. I called to let you know, not to ask for permission. To let me know, not ask for permission? Like someone calling to say they'll be late for dinner. Son, I have to go, Dad. I've got a meeting in 10 minutes. And he hung up, just like that. Left me with the words in my mouth, the phone in my hand, and a hole in my chest. I sat down in the patio chair. The plants were still there. The sun was still beating down. The birds were still singing. Everything outside was the same, but inside me, something was shattering. I thought about calling my daughter Danielle. She was always different from James. Closer, more thoughtful. I dialed her number. Dad, what's wrong? Your brother just told me not to come to his wedding. Silence. Danny, are you there? Yeah, Dad, I'm here. Did you know? Another silence, and that silence gave me the answer. James told me about a week ago. He asked me not to say anything. He said he was going to talk to you. And you didn't say anything? You didn't defend me? Of course I did, Dad. I told him it was wrong, that he couldn't do that. But he doesn't listen anymore. He's blinded by Vanessa. He does everything she says. And you're going to that wedding? Dad, he's my brother. I have to go, but I don't agree with it. I swear. I hung up with Danielle and just sat there. I don't know for how long. Maybe an hour, maybe two. Just staring at the plants, thinking, at what point did I lose my son? When did I stop mattering to him? What did I do so wrong that he would treat me like this? The phone rang again. James. I thought maybe he'd reconsidered, that he'd realized what he'd just done, that he was calling to apologize. Hello? Dad, I forgot to tell you something important. What is it? Are you going to transfer the $5,000 for the honeymoon? I went cold. I'm sorry? The $5,000, Dad, we already agreed you were going to pay for the honeymoon. Remember? We're going to Hawaii. We already picked out the hotel. I need the money this week because we have to book the flights. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't. My son had just told me not to come to his wedding, that his fiancée hated me, that I was a problem, that he didn't want me there on the most important day of his life. But the money, oh, he still wanted the money that he had no problem asking for without a hint of shame or embarrassment. James, you're banning me from your wedding and you're asking me for money? That's something else, Dad. Don't mix the two. Don't mix the two. How am I supposed to pay for your honeymoon if I'm not even going to be at your wedding? Dad, please, you promised. We're counting on that money. We have already made plans. You promised, sure. I promised a lot of things in my life. I promised to take care of my son, to raise him right, to give him the best, to always be there. And I kept those promises. I kept every single one. And him, what did he ever promise me? And you, James, what did you ever promise to me? What are you talking about? Nothing, forget it. Let me think about it. Think about it? Dad, I need the money. There's nothing to think about. I said I'll think about it. I'll call you later. And I hung up on him. I was the one who hung up. I stared at the phone. My hands were shaking. I don't know if it was from anger or sadness or disappointment or all of it at once. I went inside into my room and opened the bottom drawer of the closet. There it was, the old ledger where I'd written down all the expenses, all the loans, all the times I had helped James with money. I turned the pages. College contribution, $20,000. First car, $15,000. Loan for his apartment, down payment, $10,000. Furniture when he moved in, $3,000. The engagement ring he couldn't afford on his own, $2,500. And now the honeymoon, another $5,000. I closed the ledger. I picked up my phone, opened my banking app. The transfer was already scheduled, $5,000, ready to be sent. My finger was hovering over the button. I just had to confirm, and the money would go to James's account. Like always, like it had his whole life. But this time was different. This time my son had told me not to come to his wedding, that his woman hated me, that I was a burden he didn't want there. But my money? Oh yeah, he always wanted my money. I looked at the screen, my finger still over the button. And then I made a decision that would change everything. I canceled the transfer just like that. One button, one click, and the $5,000 stayed in my account. I stared at the phone screen. Transfer canceled, it said in red letters. I felt a strange knot in my chest. I don't know if it was relief or fear or both. I put the phone away, got up, and walked through the house. The empty living room, the silent kitchen. It was all too quiet. I grabbed my car keys. I needed to get out and to clear my head. I couldn't just stay there, spinning in circles. I got into my truck, an old but reliable 2008 Ford. I bought it used years ago, and it still ran like a dream. I drove without a destination, through the streets of Cleveland. I passed downtown, the old neighborhoods, streets I knew by heart. I ended up where I always did when I needed to think. The shop. My shop. Miller's Auto Repair. I opened it 42 years ago when James was just a baby. I started with nothing, just some borrowed tools and a powerful desire to get ahead. I don't work there anymore. I retired 3 years ago. I left the business to my nephew, but I still have the keys. I still go by sometimes to see how things are going, to remember. I parked the truck out front. The sign was still there, faded by the sun, the rain, the years, but it was still there. Miller's Auto Repair, Est, 1983. I opened the big garage door and stepped inside. The smell of oil, grease, and metal. A smell so familiar it felt like a part of me. A smell that had been with me my whole life. I flipped on the lights. The shop was empty. It was late. The guys had already gone home. It was just me, the silence, and the memories. I sat on an old wooden stool, the kind you don't see much anymore. I just sat there looking at the walls, the tools hanging in their places, the old calendars, the photos. There was one picture taped to the wall. James was about 6 years old. He was standing next to me, both of us in overalls, both covered in grease, both smiling. That day he had helped me. Well, helped is a strong word. He was mostly in the way, but I let him stay, hang around, pass me tools, pretend to be a worker. At the end of the day, he told me, "Dad, when I grow up, I'm going to work here with you. We're going to be partners." I believed him. Of course I believed him. He was my son, my only son. I got up from the stool and walked over to the photo. I touched it with my finger. The glass was dusty. I wiped it with my hand. "Liar," I said in a low voice. "Liar." He never worked with me. When he grew up, he wasn't interested in the shop anymore. He said it was for people without an education, that he was going to be a professional, work in an office with a suit and air conditioning. And he did it. He studied business, got a job at a car dealership selling luxury cars. He was doing well, making good money. But he never once looked back at the shop, never asked how things were going, never offered to help. The shop that paid for his private school, his college, his car, his entire life. That shop didn't matter to him. The phone rang. It was James again. I let it ring. Once, twice, 3 times. I didn't answer. I didn't want to talk to him. Not yet. He sent me a message. "Dad, did you make the transfer yet? I need to confirm the flights today. Not a how are you, not an I'm sorry about earlier. Nothing. Just the money, always the money." I put the phone away, turned off the shop lights, locked everything up, and got back in my truck. I drove home. By the time I arrived, it was dark. The house felt emptier than ever. Ever since my wife Lucy died, everything feels that way. Empty, cold, lonely. I opened the fridge. There were leftover beans from yesterday. I heated them in the microwave, served myself a bowl, and sat at the kitchen table. The same table where we used to eat together. Lucy, James, Danielle, me. Now it was just me eating reheated beans. In silence. The phone rang again. This time it was Danielle. "Hello? Dad, James called me. He's angry. Says you're not answering, that he needs the honeymoon money." "Let him wait." "Dad, what are you going to do with it, Bo?" "I don't know, honey. I still don't know." "Are you going to give him the money?" I was quiet. Danielle sighed on the other end. "Dad, I know you're hurt. I am too. What James did is wrong, really wrong. But what? He's your son, Dad. It's James, your only son. I know he's blinded right now. I know Vanessa has him wrapped around her finger. But he's still your son." "A son who banned me from his wedding, Danielle." "I know, and it's terrible. But if you don't give him the money, if you cancel everything, things are going to get worse, much worse. And what do you want me to do? Let him walk all over me? Pay for something I'm not even allowed to attend?" "I don't know, Dad. I don't know what the right thing is. Just think about it carefully. Think about the consequences." We hung up. I finished eating, washed my bowl, turned off the lights, and went to my room. I lay down in the bed, the same one I shared with Lucy for 40 years. It felt so big now, so empty. I stared at the ceiling, at the shadows, at the street light filtering through the window. I thought about what Danielle said. Think about the consequences. Consequences of what? Of setting a boundary? Of not letting myself be humiliated? Of not giving my money away to someone who despises me? All my life I gave. I gave and gave and gave. To my family, to my kids, to everyone. I worked like a dog. I sacrificed. I broke my back. For what? So my son could tell me not to come to his wedding. I grabbed my phone, opened the banking app again. The transfer was still there. Canceled. $5,000. My money I earned with my work, with my sweat. Why should I have to give it to someone who treated me like this? Another message from James came through. Dad, it's 10 p.m. What's going on with the transfer? I need it urgently. Urgently. He always needed something urgently. Always needed, always asked. But to give, never. I texted back, we'll talk tomorrow. He replied instantly, not tomorrow, Dad. I need the money tonight. The flight prices are going to go up. I didn't answer. I turned off my phone, put it on the nightstand, rolled over and closed my eyes. But I couldn't sleep. My head was spinning. The thoughts wouldn't stop. What would Lucy have done? What would she tell me if she were here? She was always softer than me, more forgiving. She always defended James. He's young, Robert. He'll mature. Just give him time. But Lucy was gone and James hadn't matured. He'd gotten worse. I got out of bed, went to the living room, turned on a lamp, and looked through the bookshelf. There they were, the photo albums. I pulled one out and opened it. Old pictures from when the kids were little. James at his first communion. James at his elementary school graduation. James at his 16th birthday party. We threw him a big party, even though he was a boy. He really wanted one. In every photo I was there. Always there by his side, supporting him, smiling, proud. Where was he now? Where was that boy who used to hug me and say, I love you, Dad? The one who promised we'd be partners. I closed the album and put it away. I went back to bed. This time I fell asleep, but I had nightmares. I dreamt about James, about his wedding. I was outside the church, looking through a window, watching everyone go inside. Everyone but me. I woke up sweating. It was 5 a.m. I couldn't sleep anymore. I got up, took a shower, got dressed, made coffee, and sat at the table. I turned on my phone. I had 12 messages from James, all asking about the money. The last one said, Dad, if you don't transfer it today, I'm going to have to borrow from someone else, and you're going to make me look bad. I was going to make him look bad. How ironic. I took a deep breath, picked up the phone, and dialed his number. He answered on the first ring. Dad, did you do the transfer? James, we need to talk. Talk, Dad, there's nothing to talk about. I just need you to make the transfer. Now. His voice was impatient, annoyed, like I was an employee who wasn't doing his job. James, sit down. Are you alone? I'm at the office. I have a meeting in 20 minutes. Make it quick. He wasn't even at home. Didn't even have time to talk to his father. But for asking for money, for that, there was always time. Son, do you realize what you said to me yesterday? What are you talking about? About me not coming to your wedding, James. You banned me from your wedding. I heard a sigh on the other end, the kind of sigh someone gives when you're getting on their nerves. Dad, we already talked about this. I explained it to you. Vanessa isn't comfortable with you there, and I have to respect that. And what about me? Who respects me? Don't start with the drama, please. I don't have time for this. Drama. He called what I was feeling the knife he had just stabbed in my back. Drama. James, I'm your father. I raised you. I gave you everything. I worked my whole life so you could have what I never had. And this is how you repay me? Oh, Dad, here we go again. Always the same thing. You worked, you sacrificed, you gave everything. I know, you've told me 1,000 times. 1,000 times, as if it were a lie, a story I made up. It's not a story, James. It's the truth. Nobody asked you to do all that, Dad. You did it because you wanted to. You can't hold that over my head now. You can't hold that over my head now. Those words hit me like a bucket of ice water. Hold it over his head? You think I'm holding it over your head? Yes, every time I ask for something, you bring up everything you did for me. That you paid for my school, that you bought me my curriculum, that you loaned me money for my apartment. It's always the same. I bring it up because it seems like you forgot, James. It seems like you don't remember any of it. I haven't forgotten, but I'm not going to spend my whole life feeling guilty because I have a father who decided to work a lot. That was your choice, not mine. I was speechless. Literally, no words. That's what he thought of me. That I worked hard because I wanted to, not because I had to support a family, not because I wanted to give them a better life. James, Dad, I really don't have time. I have to go to my meeting. Are you going to make the transfer or not? There it was, the direct question. Was I going to give him the money or not? And if I don't? Silence, a heavy silence. What do you mean if you don't? Just that. What happens if I decide not to give you the money? Dad, we agreed you would pay for the honeymoon. You already promised. We made plans. We also agreed I was going to be at your wedding, James. And that changed, didn't it? Another silence, longer, more tense. Are you blackmailing me? No, I'm asking you. Why should I pay for something where I'm not even welcome? Because you promised, because you're my father, because I'm counting on you. Counting on me. How easy it was to count on me when he needed money. But to be at his wedding for that, I didn't count anymore. James, you kicked me out of your wedding. You decided you didn't want me there. It wasn't me. It was Vanessa. And what are you, a puppet? She makes a decision and you just obey? Don't talk about my wife like that. She's not your wife yet, James. And even if she were, I'm your father. Your father. That doesn't change. Look, Dad, if you're not going to support me in this, then let's just not talk. I'm really angry right now. I'll call you later. James, wait. He hung up. He hung up on me, his father, like it was nothing. I stood there, phone in my hand, shaking. From anger or sadness or helplessness or all of it. I put the phone on the table and poured myself more coffee. My hands were shaking so much I spilled some. I wiped it up with a napkin. What was happening? When did my son become like this? Or was he always like this and I just never noticed? The phone rang again. I thought it was James, that he regretted it, that he was calling to apologize. It was Vanessa. Vanessa never called me. Never. In the 2 years she'd been with James, she'd maybe spoken to me 3 times, and always quickly, always curtly. Hello? Robert, it's Vanessa. She didn't even say Mr. Miller, just Robert, like we were buddies. Yes, Vanessa? I need to talk to you. James told me what happened. What exactly did he tell you? That you don't want to give him the money for the honeymoon, that you're being difficult. I'm being difficult. I was the difficult one. Vanessa, did he also tell you that you banned me from the wedding? Yes, he did. And honestly, Robert, it was necessary. It was necessary. Those words said with such coldness. Necessary? Why was it necessary? Because you and I don't get along, and I don't want any problems on my special day. It's my day, the most important day of my life, and I'm not going to let anyone ruin it. Anyone. I was a nobody. Vanessa, I have never disrespected you. Oh, please. Always with your comments about how I dress, what I do on the internet, in your day this and that. I'm sick of it. They were just comments, opinions. I didn't insult you. Your opinions offend me, period. I don't want you at my wedding, and James agrees with me. Is he there? Is he with you right now? No, I'm at home, but I spoke with him and we're both on the same page. Then why are you calling me? To tell you not to be ridiculous. Pay what you promised. Don't use this as revenge. Be an adult. Be an adult. She was telling me to be an adult, a 32-year-old girl who made a living dancing on TikTok. Vanessa, let me ask you something. If I'm not going to be at the wedding, why should I pay for your honeymoon? Because you promised, and a person of their word keeps their promises. A person of their word, the irony. I also promised to be at my son's wedding, and you two changed that. That's different. Different how? Because that's for the good of everyone to avoid conflict. And not paying for your honeymoon also avoids conflict. I avoid the conflict of feeling used. You're being selfish, Robert. Very selfish. Selfish. Me. The man who worked 40 years without a break, who sacrificed, who gave everything. I was the selfish one. Vanessa, I think we have nothing more to talk about. Wait, before you hang up, let me tell you something. What? If you don't give us that money, if you let us down, James is going to be very angry, very disappointed, and I will make sure he never speaks to you again. There it was, the threat. Clear and direct. Are you threatening me? No, I'm telling you the truth. You decide. Either you pay what you promised, or you lose your son forever. Think about it, Robert. Think very carefully." And she hung up. I just stood there in my kitchen, my coffee now cold, my hands still shaking. That girl had just threatened me. She told me if I didn't pay, I would lose my son, as if James were an object, as if she had total control. And the worst part, the saddest part, is that she was probably right. James did whatever she said. He was blinded, manipulated. He didn't think for himself anymore. I sat down in the chair and put my head in my hands. What was I going to do? Pay up to avoid losing my son, or refuse and risk losing him forever? I thought of Lucy, of what she would say. "Robert, sometimes letting go is the only way they learn." She told me that once when James was about 16 and going through a rebellious phase. He wanted to drop out of high school, said it was useless. I was furious. I wanted to force him, but Lucy said that. Let him make his own mistakes. Let him learn. And I had to let him make his choice. He almost dropped out, but in the end, he regretted it. He went back and finished. Was this the same? Did I have to let him make his mistake? Let him learn his lesson? I picked up the phone, went to the banking app. The transfer was still there. Canceled. My fingers hovered over the screen. One decision, just one decision. But this time was going to be different. This time I wasn't going to give in. I dialed James's number. He answered on the third ring. "Dad? James, I need you to come to the house today." "I can't right now. I have work. I already told you." "I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. You either come today or you don't come back ever." Silence. I think I surprised him. I never spoke to him like that. I never demanded anything. "Okay, I get off at 6. I'll be there around 7. "I'll be waiting." I hung up. My hands were shaking, but this time it wasn't from fear. It was something else. It was determination. It was anger. It was dignity. The hours passed slowly, so slowly. I showered, shaved, put on a clean shirt. I wanted to look good, to feel good. I made fresh coffee, took out the ledger with all the expenses written down, and put it on the kitchen table. And I waited. At 7:15, the doorbell rang. I opened it. There was James in his office suit, his expensive tie, his shiny shoes. He looked good, successful, prosperous. All of it paid for with my money. "Come in." He walked in without a greeting, without a kiss or a hug. Nothing. He just walked in and stood in the living room with his arms crossed. "What's so urgent, Dad? I'm supposed to meet Vanessa at 8. "Sit down." "I'd rather stand." "Sit down, James." Something in my voice made him obey. He sat on the sofa, the same sofa where he used to watch cartoons as a kid, where he did his homework, where he'd fall asleep waiting for me when I came home late from the shop. I sat across from him and put the ledger on the coffee table between us. "What's that?" "This, son, is a record of all the money I've given you in your life, from the day you started college until today." "Why are you bringing that out?" "So you can see, so you can remember, so you can understand." I opened the ledger and started turning the pages, showing him one by one. "College, 4 years. My contribution to your tuition, 20,000. The car I bought you when you graduated, 15,000. The loan for your apartment down payment because you couldn't get approved for the full amount, 10,000. The furniture when you moved out, 3,000. The engagement ring you couldn't fully afford, $2,500. James looked at me without expression, like I was reading him a restaurant menu. "And that's all you're going to say?" "What do you want me to say, Dad? I know you helped me. I already know. Why are you repeating it?" "Because it seems like you forgot, James. It seems like you don't remember any of it." "I haven't forgotten, but I'm not going to live on my knees thanking you for the rest of my life. I already told you that was your choice." "My choice was to be your father. My choice was to give you what I never had. My choice was to sacrifice so you could have a better life. Nobody forced you." Those 3 words, nobody forced you, like a slap in the face. You're right, nobody forced me. I did it because I love you, because you're my son, because I thought it was worth it. Thought? Yes, past tense, because now I'm not so sure. James stood up. "You know what, Dad? I didn't come here for a guilt trip. If you just called me here to throw everything you did for me in my face, I'm leaving. Sit down. No. Sit down or I swear you will never step foot in this house again. He stood there staring at me. His eyes, they weren't my son's eyes anymore. They were the eyes of a stranger, cold, calculating. But he sat down. Talk. Tell me what you want. I want you to understand something, James. I've worked my whole life since I was 14. My father, your grandfather, was an alcoholic. He spent all our money on booze. My mother washed other people's clothes to feed us. I had to drop out of middle school to work, to help out. I didn't have a choice. I know, Dad. You've told me that story before. Well, I'm telling it to you again because it seems you didn't understand it. I worked as a mechanic's assistant. They paid me pennies, but I learned. I worked hard. When I was 23, I met your mother. We got married. We lived in a tiny rented room. We had nothing, but we were happy. James was staring at the floor. He wouldn't look me in the eye. When you were born, I made a promise. I promised your mother, and I promised myself that you wouldn't go through what I went through, that you would have everything, school, clothes, food, opportunities, everything. And I had it. What more do you want? Respect, James. That's what I want. Respect. I do respect you, Dad. No, you don't. If you respected me, you wouldn't have banned me from your wedding. If you respected me, you wouldn't be demanding I pay for your honeymoon like it's my obligation. You promised to pay for it. And you promised a lot of things too, son. Remember? When you were 6, you told me you were going to work with me at the shop, that we'd be partners. A lie. When you were 16, you told me you'd take care of me when I was old, that you'd never leave me alone. A lie. When your mother got sick, you told me you'd be there, that we'd take care of her together. A lie. You showed up 3 times in 6 months. I had a job, Dad. I couldn't be there all the time. But you have time to ask me for money. For that, you always have time. James stood up again. That's it. I'm not listening to this anymore. I came because you said it was urgent. But this is just emotional manipulation. Manipulation? I'm the one manipulating? Don't bring Vanessa into this. She's already in it, James. She's the one who decided I can't go to your wedding. She has you under her thumb. You don't think for yourself anymore. You do whatever she says. She's my partner. I have to support her. And what am I? Am I nothing? You're my dad, but she's going to be my wife. She's my priority. Priority. That word hurt more than I thought it would. I wasn't a priority anymore. I didn't matter. All right, James, I understand. She's your priority. Perfect. Then let her pay for your honeymoon. What? You heard me. I'm not paying for your honeymoon. I'm not giving you the $5,000. Dad, you're screwing me over. We had a deal. No, you screwed me over. You changed the rules. I'm just adapting. You can't do this. Of course I can. It's my money. My decision. James's face turned red with rage. The veins in his neck bulged. You know what? You're a selfish, bitter old man. That's why Vanessa doesn't want you at the wedding. Because you're unbearable. Maybe so, but this unbearable old man isn't going to keep giving his money away to someone who doesn't value it. You're going to make me look bad. You made me look bad first, son. This isn't over, Dad, I swear. Fine, you know where the door is. James walked toward the exit. He stopped before opening the door. When you regret this, it's going to be too late. Too late. We'll see about that. He opened the door, walked out, and slammed it behind him. I heard his car start, the tires squealing as he sped away. He was gone. I stood there in the empty living room, the ledger still on the table, my heart pounding in my chest. So hard, I don't know if I did the right thing. I don't know if I did the wrong thing. But for the first time in a long time, I felt something different. I felt like I had set a boundary, that I had defended my dignity, that I hadn't let myself be walked all over. I sat on the sofa, took a deep breath, and closed my eyes. Lucy, I hope I'm doing the right thing. The phone rang. It was Danielle. Dad, James just called me. He's furious. He says you're not going to give him the money. He says you're being stubborn. What happened? What had to happen, honey? I told him no. Dad, Danielle, I know you support me. I know you understand. But I've made my decision. I'm not changing my mind. And if James stops talking to me, then so be it. But I am not going to buy his affection. I'm not going to give away my money just to be tolerated. I have my dignity. Danielle was quiet for a few seconds. I understand, Dad. And you know what? You're right. James crossed a line, and someone had to put him in his place. Thank you, honey. I love you, Dad, a lot. I love you too. I hung up. I stayed there in the silence of the house, but this time the silence didn't feel so heavy. It felt different. It felt like peace. I didn't know what was going to happen next. I didn't know if James would come back, if he would apologize, if he would understand. But what I did know was this. For the first time in a long time, I had chosen to respect myself. And that was priceless. 3 days passed without a word from James. 3 days of total silence. No calls, no texts, nothing. It was as if I had ceased to exist for him. On the fourth day, a message came, but it wasn't from James. It was from a number I didn't recognize. Robert, this is Vanessa's mom. We need to talk. Vanessa's mom. I didn't even know the woman. I'd met her once at a dinner. We barely said hello, and now she was texting me. What do you need to talk about? About what you're doing, about how you're treating my daughter and your son. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. I was the unacceptable one. Not her daughter who kicked me out of the wedding. Not my son who treated me like garbage. Me. With all due respect, ma'am, this is a matter between my son and me. My daughter is crying every day because of you, because of your stubbornness. They've already paid for the venue, sent out the invitations, and now they have no money for the honeymoon because of your selfishness. I stared at the message. This woman, who didn't even know me, was calling me selfish, blaming me for her daughter's tears when her daughter was the one who started this whole mess. I didn't reply. I blocked the number. I wasn't going to play that game. I wasn't going to argue with strangers. That night, Danielle came to visit. She brought food, pulled pork sandwiches from my favorite barbecue joint. She knew I hadn't been cooking much. She knew I was down. Thanks, honey. You're welcome, Dad. How are you holding up? Okay, more or less. I don't know. We sat down to eat at the table. She looked at me with those worried eyes, the same eyes as her mother, sweet, caring. Did you hear what's happening, Dad? What's that? James and Vanessa are bad-mouthing you to the whole family. They're saying you ruined the wedding, that you're a bitter old man, that you're trying to punish them. I felt something in my stomach. It wasn't pain, it was deep disappointment. My son was dragging my name through the mud with our family, telling his side of the story, making me out to be the villain. And what's the family saying? They're divided, Dad. Some support you, others say you should give in, that he's your son, that you have to keep the peace. Keep the peace. It was always the same story. The one who sets boundaries is the troublemaker. The one who defends himself is the problem. And what do you think, Danielle? I think James crossed a line, that Vanessa is a manipulator, and that you did the right thing. Her words gave me strength. Knowing my daughter understood, that she supported me, that I wasn't crazy. Thank you, honey. But I also have to tell you something, Dad, something you might not want to hear. Tell me. Aunt Gloria called James. She offered to lend him the money for the honeymoon. Aunt Gloria, my younger sister, the one I helped when her husband left her, the one I supported for 6 months while she looked for a job, that Aunt Gloria was going to lend him the money. She already did. She wired it to him yesterday. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My own sister, undermining my decision, making my boundary meaningless. I see. Dad, I'm sorry. I think she thought she was helping. Helping what, Danielle? Helping James continue to believe he can do whatever he wants? That he can treat people poorly and there will always be someone to bail him out? I know, I told her the same thing, but you know how Aunt Gloria is. She doesn't think things through. We finished eating in silence. Danielle did the dishes and gave me a long hug, the kind of hug I needed. Whatever happens, Dad, I'm with you. Always. I know, honey, I know. She left. I was alone again. I turned on the TV but wasn't paying attention. I was just thinking about James, about the wedding, about how everything had gone south so quickly. The following week, the invitation arrived. Yes, the wedding invitation, in a fancy envelope with gold lettering. I opened it. James Miller and Vanessa Gutierrez have the honor of inviting you to their wedding. The date, the place, all very nice, very proper. But my name wasn't on it anywhere. It was a generic invitation, the kind you send out of obligation. It didn't say Dad or Mr. Miller. Nothing. I threw it in the trash. I wouldn't go now, even if they begged me. Not anymore. 2 weeks before the wedding, my best friend Hector called me. He's James's confirmation sponsor, a friend for life. Hey, Bob, what's this I hear about James's wedding? What about it? That you're not going, that's what he told me. That you decided not to go. I decided, of course, James's version. It's not like that, Hector. He banned me. His fiancée doesn't want me there. Seriously? Man, that's low, Bob. That's how it is. Have you talked to him? Have you patched things up? There's nothing to patch up. He made his decision. I made mine. Bob, he's your son. Your only son. Think about it. Sometimes there's no going back. Everyone told me the same thing. To think about it, that he was my son, as if I didn't know that, as if it didn't hurt me. But no one said, you're right, your son was wrong. No one. I have thought about it, Hector, many times. Well, man, you know what you're doing, but you're going to be missed there. We hung up. I kept thinking about his words. You're going to be missed there. Of course I was going to be missed. I was the father of the groom. But they decided they didn't want me. Not me. The night before the wedding, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, thinking, imagining the church, James at the altar, walking alone, without his dad, without me. Would he be proud? Would he be happy? Or deep down, would he know that something was missing? That someone was missing? I got up at 4 a.m, made coffee, and sat on the patio. The same patio where I was watering the plants when this all started weeks ago. I looked at the plants. They were still there, green, despite everything. I thought of Lucy, of what she would tell me. Robert, it hurts, but sometimes letting go is the only way they learn to appreciate things. I took out my phone and looked at old pictures. James as a baby, James at his first communion, James graduating. All those memories, all those moments I thought mattered. Did they matter, or was it all for nothing? I put the phone away, went inside, showered, and got dressed. But I didn't put on a suit. I put on normal clothing, jeans and a plain shirt. I wasn't going to any wedding. I left the house, got in my truck, and just drove. I drove past the church where the wedding was going to be. There were people outside, decorations, flowers, all very elegant. I kept going. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. I drove to the shop, my safe place, my refuge. I parked, went inside, and sat on the same old stool. And there, I let myself cry. For the first time in weeks, I cried. I cried for my son, for the relationship we lost, for the father I no longer was, for the man he had stopped being. I cried until I couldn't anymore, until my chest ached, until the tears ran dry. And when I finished crying, I felt something strange. It wasn't peace. It wasn't happiness. It was acceptance, the acceptance that I had done what I had to do, that I had defended my dignity, that I had not let myself be humiliated. At that moment, right at that moment, my phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. I opened it, and what I read changed everything. The message said, Mr. Miller, this is Mark, Vanessa's cousin. I need to talk to you. It's important. Very important, Mark. I think I'd seen him once. A quiet, serious young man, about 25. We never really talked. What is it about? I can't say over text. Can we meet? Today. Now. I looked at the time. It was 11 in the morning. The wedding was at 5 p.m. What could this kid want? Where? The coffee shop on Main Street. I'll wait for you there in half an hour. I'll be there. I left the shop and drove downtown. The coffee shop was crowded. Saturday morning. Families, couples, happy people. I felt out of place. I saw Mark at a table in the back. He waved me over. I walked up. He looked nervous, restless. Mr. Miller, thanks for coming. Tell me what's going on, kid. I I need to tell you something you have to know before it's too late. Too late for what? For the wedding, for your son. He fell silent as if he didn't know how to start, as if the words were too heavy. Spit it out, Mark. What is it? Vanessa, she's not who you think she is, or who James thinks she is. Explain. My cousin, well, she has a plan, and that plan doesn't involve loving your son. It involves his money. I felt a chill run down my spine, a bad feeling. What are you talking about? Mark took out his phone and showed me a text conversation between Vanessa and a friend. I started reading. Vanessa, almost there? In 4 months, I'll be married and I can start bleeding him dry. Friend, what if he finds out? Vanessa, he won't. He's an idiot. Does everything I say. I even got him to kick his own dad out of the wedding because I wanted to. Friend, and the dad? Vanessa, that old man is the only problem, but I've already isolated him. No one supports him anymore. Once I'm married, I'm going to make James cut him off from everything. The properties, the shop, everything. I felt the floor shift beneath me. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I kept scrolling. Vanessa, the plan is to stick it out for 2 years, get pregnant, and then divorce him with a nice alimony check and half of everything. Friend, you're a genius. Vanessa, I know. And the best part is James is so in love he doesn't suspect a thing. It's perfect. I stopped reading and looked up. Mark was looking at me with pity in his eyes. Is this real? It's real, Mr. Miller. That's why I called you. I couldn't stay silent. I know you and my cousin don't get along. I know she kicked you out of the wedding. But your son doesn't deserve this. Nobody does. Why are you telling me? Why not James? Because James won't believe me. He's blinded. But you're his dad. If you show him this, maybe he'll listen. I sat in silence, processing, absorbing. My son was about to marry a woman who only wanted him for his money, who had it all planned out, who was going to destroy him. How many people know about this? Just me. I saw the conversation by accident. Vanessa left her phone unlocked at a family dinner. I took pictures of the messages. And your family, do they know what she's like? My aunt, her mom, she knows exactly who Vanessa is, but she doesn't care. She says her son-in-law's money will be good for all of them. Of course. That's why Vanessa's mom had texted me, why she attacked me, because I was the obstacle, the only one who saw her daughter for who she really was. Mark, can you send me those screenshots? Of course, sending them now. My phone vibrated. The images came through. I saved them, looked them over one by one. It was worse than I thought. There were more messages, more plans, more manipulation. Thank you, kid. Really, thank you. Mr. Miller, you have to do something. The wedding is in a few hours. I know. Are you going to go? I don't know. Let me think. I left the coffee shop, got in my truck, and just sat there, with the screenshots on my phone, with the truth in my hands. What was I going to do? Show this to James? Warn him? Or let him crash and burn? Let him learn on his own? I thought of Lucy, of what she would do. Robert, he's your son. He'll always be your son. No matter how he treats you, no matter what he does, you're the father, and fathers protect. I dialed James's number. No answer. I called again. Nothing. A third time. Voicemail. I sent him a message. James, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. Very urgent. Before the wedding. He didn't respond. I called Danielle. Dad? Honey, are you with James? Yeah, I'm at his apartment. We're getting ready for the wedding. Why? I need you to tell him to call me. Now. Dad, he's really busy. He's nervous. It's in a few hours. Danielle, it's urgent. Please tell him it's about Vanessa. About Vanessa? What's going on? I can't tell you over the phone. I need to talk to him. Hold on. I heard muffled voices in the background. Danielle talking to James. James saying something I couldn't make out. More voices. Dad, he says he doesn't want to talk to you. He says to leave him alone. Danielle, this is serious. Tell him I have information about Vanessa that he needs to know before he gets married. More voices, more arguing. James grabbed the phone. What do you want, Dad? Now you're going to ruin my wedding day with gossip? It's not gossip, James. It's the truth. Vanessa is not who you think she is. Here we go. I knew it. You just can't accept that I'm happy, that I found someone. James, just listen to me. No, I'm not listening to you anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of your comments, your negativity, your bitterness. I'm getting married today, with or without your blessing, and I don't want you to ever contact me again. Son, please. Goodbye, Dad. And he hung up. I sat there, the phone in my hand, the truth locked away, the warning unspoken. I tried. I tried to protect him, but he wouldn't listen. I thought about going to the church, interrupting the wedding, showing the proof to everyone, exposing Vanessa in front of them all. But then I thought, what if they don't believe me? What if they think it's revenge, that I'm making things up because I was kicked out of the wedding? James had made his decision. He had chosen. He chose to believe her. He chose not to listen to me. He chose to close the door in my face. I looked at the time, 2 p.m., 3 hours until the wedding. I grabbed my phone and sent the screenshots to Danielle. Honey, this is what I wanted to tell James. Read it. You decide if you show it to him or not. I've done what I can. I put the phone away, started the truck, and drove home. I wasn't going to that wedding. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to humiliate myself. I had warned him. I had done my duty as a father. Now all I could do was wait. Wait for James to open his eyes, or for life to rip them open for him. I changed my clothes, got comfortable, turned on the TV, but I couldn't focus. 5 p.m. At that moment, James was saying, I do. He was marrying a woman who was going to destroy him, and I couldn't do a thing to stop it. I poured myself a shot of whiskey. I made a toast, alone, to my son, to his mistakes, his lessons. Cheers, son. I hope this doesn't hurt you as much as it hurt me. And I downed it in one go. It was bitter, just like everything I was living through. The phone rang. It was Danielle. I answered. Dad, tell me, honey. I showed everything to James. My heart stopped. And he said, they're lies, Dad, that you paid someone to fake them, that you're desperate to ruin his happiness. I felt like I'd been thrown into a cold, dark, bottomless pit. What? I showed him the screenshots one by one. I told him they came from Vanessa's cousin, but he didn't believe me. He said it was all fake, a setup. Danielle, those are real screenshots. Vanessa's number is there, her profile picture, everything. I know, Dad. I had told him the same thing, but he's blinded. Vanessa started crying, said she couldn't believe you'd stoop so low out of revenge, that you were sick with anger. James comforted her and asked me to leave. He kicked you out? Yes, he told me if I believed those lies, I had no place there. He told me to choose, him or you. And what did you say? I said I choose the truth, and I walked out. Dad, I'm driving to your house. I'm on my way. Come on over, honey. I'll be waiting. I hung up. I stared at the ceiling. My son didn't believe me. I handed him the truth, and he threw it away. He preferred to believe the lie. He preferred to protect his manipulator than listen to his family. Danielle arrived half an hour later. She was still wearing her bridesmaid dress. Her makeup was smeared. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. Dad? I hugged her tightly. She broke down in my arms, sobbing like a little girl. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, honey. You did the right thing. I tried to make him listen. I really tried. But it's like it's not him anymore. It's like Vanessa has him hypnotized. We sat in the living room. I made her some tea. She took off her heels, let her hair down. Did they get married? I don't know. I left before, but I guess so. Everything was ready. The guests were arriving. The church was full. And what did Vanessa say when she saw the screenshots? She started crying, saying she couldn't believe her own cousin would betray her like that those messages were old, that they were jokes with her friend, that they were taken out of context. James believed every word. Of course he did, because it was easier to believe the beautiful lie than to accept the ugly truth. And the family? Did anyone else see the screenshots? No, just James, just us. Vanessa asked for my phone. She wanted to delete everything. Obviously, I didn't give it to her. Good. Danielle drank her tea in silence. I just sat with her. There wasn't much to say. My son chose his path. Now he would have to walk it. Hours passed. Danielle fell asleep on the sofa. I covered her with a blanket and went to my room. It was 9 p.m. The wedding was over. James was a husband now, married to the woman who was going to destroy him, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. I lay down, closed my eyes, but couldn't sleep. I just thought about all the ways it could have been different, all the times I could have been a better father, closer, more present. But then I remembered. I was there, always, at every soccer game, every graduation, every important moment. I was there. It was him who walked away, not me. At 1 a.m, the doorbell rang. Loudly, insistently, I got up. Danielle woke up too. Who is it at this hour? I don't know. I went to the door and looked through the peephole. It was James, pounding on the door, desperate. I opened it. He was a wreck. His suit was wrinkled, his tie loosened, his eyes red. He smelled of alcohol. James, you were right. That's the only thing he said. You were right. He collapsed into my arms, heavy, broken. He cried like I hadn't seen him cry since he was a little boy. Come in, son. Come in. I helped him inside. Danielle watched us from the living room. James sat on the sofa and buried his face in his hands. What happened? Everything, Dad. Everything fell apart. Tell me. He took a deep breath, wiped his tears, and began to speak. We got married. Everything was perfect. The ceremony, the reception, everyone was happy. Vanessa was radiant. I thought it was the happiest day of my life. He paused as if the words pained him. After the party, we went to the hotel. I'd rented the presidential suite for our first night as husband and wife. Vanessa went to take a shower. She left her phone on the bed. It buzzed. It was a message. I saw it by accident. From who? From her friend, the same one from the screenshots. It said, "You're a rich woman now, girl. Congrats! Now time to take him for everything he's worth." I closed my eyes. Poor kid. Poor fool. I went into her phone. I read everything, Dad. Everything you guys showed me was true, all of it. And there was more, so much more. She has another boyfriend. She's had him for a year. She sees him when I'm at work. There were pictures of them, messages, everything. Oh my God. I confronted her when she got out of the shower. I showed her the messages. And you know what she did? She laughed. She laughed in my face. She called me an idiot, said I always was, that it was so easy to manipulate me, that thanks to me, she was going to have money, a house, and a nice alimony check when she left me. Danielle got up, walked over to her brother and hugged him. They cried together. She said more things, horrible things, that you were the only smart one, that's why she wanted you far away, because she knew you'd figure her out, that she hated you because you couldn't be manipulated like me. And what did you do? I grabbed my things, walked out of the hotel, and left her there screaming at me, calling me a coward, saying she was going to get everything anyway. Where is she now? I don't know, and I don't care. Dad, forgive me, please. Forgive me. He knelt in front of me, my son on his knees, crying broken. You were right. You were always right. And I treated you horribly. I kicked you out of my wedding. I demanded money. I insulted you. I shut the door on you. And you were only trying to protect me. I pulled him up from the floor and hugged him tight. It's over, son. It's over now. No, Dad, it's not over. I ruined everything. My marriage lasted 3 hours. Three hours. And now the whole family is going to know. They're all going to say you were right, that I'm a fool. You're not a fool, James. You were just in love, and love is blind. Do you forgive me? I looked him in the eyes. Those eyes I saw at birth, that I watched grow up, that I saw pull away, and that were now begging for forgiveness. Of course I forgive you, son. You're my blood. You always will be. He cried again, but this time it was different. It was relief. It was repentance. It was humility. Danielle made coffee. The three of us sat at the table like a family, like we hadn't in years. What am I going to do now, Dad? Now you're going to annul this marriage. You are going to talk to a lawyer. You're going to protect your assets. And you are going to learn from this. Learn what? That money isn't everything. That family matters. That when someone who loves you warns you about something, it's because they truly love you, not because they want to control you. James nodded, wiping his tears. Aunt Gloria lent me the money for the honeymoon. I'm going to pay her back tomorrow. I don't want anything that came from betraying your decision. That doesn't matter now, son. Yes, it does. You set a boundary, and I crossed it. I used the family to get what I wanted. It was wrong. For the first time in a long time, I saw my son. The real James, not Vanessa's puppet. The man I raised. You can stay here tonight, son. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for not closing the door on me like I did to you. That night, the three of us slept in the house. Danielle in her old room, James in his, and me in mine. But this time the house didn't feel empty. It felt full of truth, of forgiveness, of family. The next day, James woke up late. It was almost 11 a.m. He came down to the kitchen in the same wrinkled wedding suit, eyes swollen, hair a mess. Morning, son. Morning, Dad. I poured him coffee. I made eggs and bacon, just like when he was a kid living in here. We ate in silence, an uncomfortable, heavy silence. Dad, I have to go to my apartment. Vanessa has a key. I need to change the locks before she gets in and takes things. I'll go with you. You don't have to. I'll go with you. We got in my truck. I drove to James's apartment, a nice place in an expensive area, a place I helped him make the down payment on. When we arrived, a surprise was waiting for us. The door was open, pried open. We went inside carefully. The apartment was destroyed. Vanessa had been through it like a hurricane. She had taken things, the TV, the laptop, James's clothes, even the paintings off the walls. Son of a... James didn't finish the sentence. He collapsed onto the one remaining sofa, the only piece of furniture she didn't take. We called the police. We filed a report, but the officer was clear. Sir, she is legally your wife, even if it's only been a day. She has the right to enter. This will have to be settled in civil court during a divorce. Wife. The word hurt James. I saw it on his face. When the police left, James sat on the floor, head in his hands. She took everything, Dad. They're just things, son. They can be replaced. It's not just that. She took my dignity, my trust, my everything. I sat next to him on the floor like two defeated men. James, listen to me. This hurts, yes, but it's going to make you stronger. You're going to learn who you really are, what you really want, and you're going to value who truly loves you. What if no one ever loves me again? What if everyone thinks I'm a fool? Then let them think it. It doesn't matter what other people say. It matters what you do now, how you get up from this. He wiped his tears. He took a deep breath. You're right. I need a lawyer. I need to annul this, protect what's left. I know a good one. Mr. Henderson helped me with some paperwork for the shop. He's discreet, honest. Call him, please. That same afternoon, we went to Mr. Henderson's office. A serious, professional man in his 70s. He listened to the whole story without interrupting. This is complicated, James. You're legally married. Even though it was a fraud, you have to prove it. And in the meantime, she has a claim to your assets. How long will this take? A year, minimum. Maybe more. Depends on how difficult she decides to be. James looked devastated. Mr. Henderson continued. My advice, gather all the evidence. The texts, the testimonies, everything. And have no contact with her. Anything you say can be used against you. We left the office. James was quiet, processing, realizing this was going to be a long fight. Where are you going to stay, son? You can't stay in that empty apartment. I don't know. Maybe I'll rent a small place while this all gets sorted out. Or you could stay at home with me. He looked at me, surprised. Really? Of course, it's your home. It always was. For the first time all day, there was something like relief on his face. That night, we packed up the little that was left in his apartment. clothes, some papers, old photos. His entire life reduced to 3 boxes. On the way back to my house, James broke the silence. Dad, I need to tell you something. Go ahead. These last few years, I became someone I wasn't. I became arrogant, entitled. I treated you like you didn't matter, like you were just someone who owed me things. Son, don't. No, let me finish. I need to say this. I'm ashamed of how I spoke to you, of the things I said, of banning you from my wedding, of demanding money, of everything. Tears streamed down his face as he drove. I had to ask him to pull over. Stop the truck. He parked on the side of the road and just sobbed. He cried like I think he needed to cry for a very long time. Dad, why didn't you shut the door on me after everything I did? Why did you take me in last night? Because you're my son, James, and sons make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But a father's love doesn't change. You can disappoint me. You can hurt me. You can walk away, but I will always, always be here. He hugged me like he did when he was a kid and he was scared, like when the world was too big for him. I love you, Dad, and I'm so sorry I stopped saying it. I love you too, son. I've always loved you. We got home late. We carried the boxes up to his old room, the room where he grew up, did his homework, dreamed about his future. It feels weird being back. Think of it as a new beginning. That week was hard. James had to explain things at work, face the stares, the gossip. Everyone knew the 3-hour marriage, the wife who turned out to be a con artist. Some coworkers made jokes. Others offered condolences. James endured it all with his head held high, or at least trying to. At home, things were different. Danielle came by often. We ate together, talked, watched movies, like a family, like we hadn't in years. One evening, James found me on the patio. I was watering Lucy's plants. He sat next to me. Do you miss Mom? Every day. What do you think she'd say about all this? I thought about Lucy, her smile, her wisdom. She'd say that sometimes you have to lose everything to learn what to value, that pain teaches you what words can't. She was right, as always. Your mother was always right. Dad, will you ever really forgive me? Not just with words, but in your heart. I looked him in the eye. I already have, son. The day you knocked on my door, the day you fell to your knees, the day you said you were right, I forgave you then, because I saw something I hadn't seen in a long time. I saw humility. I saw true remorse. I saw my son. I'm going to make it up to you, I swear. I'm going to be a better son, a better man, a better person. You don't have to make anything up. You just have to learn and not make the same mistakes again. That night, I slept peacefully for the first time in months, because my son was home, because my family was together, because despite all the pain, there was hope. The next day, a legal notice arrived. It was from Vanessa. She was suing for alimony, division of assets, everything she had planned. James stared at the paper. This is going to be a war. I know, but this time you're not alone. This time I'm with you. Why, Dad, after everything? Because that's what fathers do, James. They fight for their children. Until the very end. We called Mr. Henderson. We prepared our defense. We gathered evidence, the messages, Mark's testimony, everything. Vanessa didn't know who she was messing with. She thought James was weak, that he was alone. But she was wrong. Now he had his father. And I wasn't going to let that woman destroy my son. This was just the beginning of the real battle. But this time, we were going to win. The next 3 months were a legal nightmare. Vanessa didn't give up easily. She hired an expensive lawyer, the kind that charges you to breathe, and started attacking from all sides. First, she demanded alimony, claiming she'd gotten used to a certain lifestyle. Mr. Henderson just laughed when he saw the demand. This woman is ambitious. She's asking for $2,000 a month for a 3-hour marriage. Can she get it? James asked, worried. Not if we present the right evidence. But it's going to be a fight. And it was. The hearings, the paperwork, the summons, all designed to wear James down, to make him give up and pay. But they hadn't counted on one thing. Me. I paid the lawyer's fees. I went with James to every hearing. I sat beside him when his nerves got the best of him. Thanks, Dad. I don't know what I'd do without you. What you should have done from the beginning, trust your family. At the third hearing, something happened. Vanessa showed up with her mother, the woman who had texted me months ago. They both saw me and gave me a look of disgust. The mother walked up to me with the kind of arrogance only truly ignorant people possess. This is your fault, Robert, for putting ideas in James's head. My daughter was happy. Your daughter is a con artist, ma'am, and you know it. How dare you? Mr. Henderson stepped in. Ma'am, please. This will be settled with the judge, not here. The woman walked away, muttering curses. Vanessa just stared at me with hate, with resentment, but also with something else. Fear, because she knew the evidence would bury her. Mark, the cousin, testified before the judge. He showed the original messages, explained how he got them. The judge listened intently. Vanessa's lawyer tried to discredit him, claiming it was family revenge, that Mark had issues with Vanessa. But it didn't work. The messages were clear, incriminating, real. Then came the surprise. Vanessa's other boyfriend, the real one, showed up. I don't know how Mr. Henderson found him, but he did. The guy testified, told the whole story, that Vanessa told him she was getting married for money, that it was temporary, that in 2 years she'd divorce and they'd be rich. The guy was an idiot, but a useful idiot. When he finished testifying, I saw Vanessa's face. She turned pale. She knew she had lost. The judge delivered his verdict 2 weeks later. Marriage annulled on grounds of fraud. Vanessa would receive nothing, $0. Furthermore, she had to return everything she stole from the apartment and pay all legal fees. When Mr. Henderson gave us the news, James couldn't believe it. Seriously? It's over? It's over, son. You're a free man. James hugged the lawyer, then he hugged me. He cried, but this time it was out of relief, out of liberation. We won, Dad, we won. We didn't win, son. We got your dignity back. That's different. That night, we had a small dinner at the house. Danielle came over. We cooked together, tacos, beans, rice. Simple food, but it tasted like victory. A toast to my dad, James said, raising his soda. The most stubborn and wisest man I know, who didn't let me fall even when I deserved it. I'll drink to that, Danielle said, to the dads who don't give up. We toasted, we ate, we laughed, like a family, like it should have always been. A few days later, James came home from work with news. Dad, I quit my job. What? Why? Because I don't want to be there anymore. Everyone looks at me like the fool who married the con artist. I can't work like that. I can't live with that. So what are you going to do? He was quiet, nervous, like he was waiting for the right moment. I want to work with you at the shop, if you'll still have me. I was speechless. I remembered that 6-year-old boy, the one who promised we'd be partners, the one who helped me sweep the floor the first day I opened the shop, the promise that was broken 30 years ago. Are you serious? Very serious. I want to learn the business. I want to be close to you. I want to make up for all the lost time. Son, the shop isn't mine anymore. I left it to your cousin 3 years ago. I know, but we could open another one together, like it should have been from the beginning. I liked the idea. I liked it a lot, but I didn't want it to be out of guilt, out of obligation. Are you doing this for me or for you? For both of us, because I realized that office life isn't for me, that I was chasing the wrong things, that what I always wanted was right here, with you. Then let's do it. And so everything began again. We found a small garage, not like the old one, something more humble. James put in his savings. I put in what I could. Danielle helped us with the paperwork. We called it Miller & Son Auto Repair. With pride, with hope, with a promise fulfilled 30 years late. The first few months were tough. James knew nothing about cars. I taught him from scratch, just like I taught so many young men in my life. But this was different. This was my son. No, son, that's not how you change a filter. Look. I showed him with patience, with calm. He was a fast learner. He had good hands, a good attitude, and most of all, he was hungry to learn. One day a customer came in, an older gentleman, the kind with money. He had a brand new car with an engine problem. James took care of him, explained the issue, gave him options, charged him a fair price. The man left happy. When he was gone, I said, "You did good, son, real good." I learned from the best. Sometimes at night, we'd stay late at the shop, talking, drinking coffee, making up for lost time. "Dad, did you really forgive me?" "I already told you I did. It's just, sometimes I feel like I'm still carrying it, the guilt." "The guilt is yours to carry, James. I've already forgiven you, but you have to forgive yourself. Accept that you made a mistake, learn from it, and move on." How do I do that? By living differently, by being a better person, by valuing what you have and not taking the people who love you for granted. He nodded thoughtfully. "You know what the most ironic part of all this is?" "What's that?" "That I had to lose everything to find what I had all along. A family, a father, a home. You didn't lose it, son. You just took a detour, but you found your way back." One afternoon, 6 months after opening the new shop, we were working. A truck pulled up. A young woman got out, pretty, down to earth. She had a problem with her transmission. James helped her, but I noticed something different. The way he spoke to her, with respect, with humility, without any pretenses. The young woman smiled. She liked how he treated her. "I'll be back for my truck tomorrow," she said. "What time?" "Around 5. It'll be ready." "Perfect. Thank you." When she left, I said, "Nice girl." "Yeah, seems like a good person." "You like her?" He blushed. "Dad, I'm not ready for that yet." "Someday you will be. And when that day comes, choose well. With your heart, but with your head too." "I will. I promise." Wow. The next day, the young woman came back. Her name was Laura. She was a teacher. James gave her the keys to her truck. They chatted for a while. They laughed. They said goodbye. "Did you get her number?" I asked after she left. "No, not yet." "Why not?" "Because first I want to be someone who deserves someone like her. Someone whole, complete. Not someone broken trying to use another person to feel better." In that moment, I knew something. My son had truly learned his lesson. Not just in words, but in his soul, where it matters. I'm proud of you, James. Thanks, Dad, for not giving up on me, for being there when I needed you most, for teaching me what it means to be a real man. I hugged him tight, like I hadn't in years. My son was back, but not the same one who left. A better one who understood, one who valued things. And that was priceless. A year after all that, the shop was doing well. We weren't rich, we didn't have 3 locations like before, but we had something better. We had peace, we had dignity, we had family. James became a good mechanic. The customers liked him. They said he was honest, hardworking, humble, words they never would have used to describe him before. Laura, the teacher, became a regular customer. She always seemed to find something wrong with her truck. She and James started dating, slowly, without rushing, building something real. One afternoon, she came to the shop, not for her truck, but to see me. "Mr. Miller, James has told me so much about you. I wanted to meet you in person." "The pleasure is all mine, young lady." He told me everything that happened, with his first wife, the wedding, all of it. I was surprised James had told her, that he didn't hide it, that he wasn't ashamed. And what do you think about all that? I think he was lucky to have a father like you, that not everyone gets that chance, and that James is very brave for having learned from his mistakes. I liked Laura. I liked her a lot. She was the polar opposite of Vanessa, day and night, simple, genuine, with good values. Months later at a family dinner, James asked for everyone's attention. "Family, I have something to say." We all looked at him, Danielle, Laura, me. 2 years ago, I was a different person, an arrogant fool who thought money was everything, that appearances mattered, that family was a burden. His voice broke. I closed the door on my dad. I kicked him out of my wedding. I demanded money from him as if he owed it to me. I treated him worse than a stranger. And he never closed his door on me. Never. Tears were streaming down his face. "Dad, everything I am today, everything I've learned, all the good that is in me, it's because of you. Thank you for not giving up." Thank you for setting limits when I needed them. Thank you for teaching me that dignity is worth more than money. He stood up, walked over to me, and pulled something from his pocket. It was a folded piece of paper. This is the deed to the shop. I put it in both our names, 50% for you, 50% for me, like it always should have been. As partners, as father and son. I couldn't hold back the tears. My son, my boy, fulfilling that promise from 30 years ago. You didn't have to do that, James. Yes, I did, because you put your trust in me again when I didn't deserve it. This is my way of showing you that I will not fail you. Not ever again. I hugged him tightly, and everyone at the table cried. Good tears, the kind that heal. Danielle stood up. I want to say something too. Dad, my whole life I watched you work, sacrifice, give everything for us, and I was always closer to you, but I never told you something important. What's that, honey? That you're my hero, that everything I am, as a woman, as a nurse, as a person, is because of your example. Because you taught me that character is measured in the storm, not in the calm. She came over and handed me an envelope. This is a fund I started for when you want to really retire, so you can travel, so you can rest, so you can live without worries. Danielle, don't say anything, Dad. Just accept it, because you deserve it, because you earned it. That night I went to sleep with a full heart. I thought of Lucy. I wish she could see me. I wish she knew that we made it, that the kids grew up, that they learned, that the family stayed together. Despite everything, we did it, my love, the two of us. 3 months later, James came to me on a Saturday morning. Dad, can we talk? Of course, son. I want to propose to Laura. My heart leaped. Seriously? Yes, but first I need your blessing and your advice. My blessing you'll always have. Laura is a good woman, one of the ones worth keeping. And my advice, treat her like a queen. Listen to her. Value her. Never let your pride be bigger than your love. And when you have problems, because you will have them, talk. Always talk. I will, Dad, I promise. And the wedding, it's going to be small, just family, nothing flashy. And you're going to walk me down the aisle if you want to. If I want to, of course I want to, son. 6 months later, they were married in a small church with 50 guests. Nothing fancy, but full of real love. When it was time to walk, James looked at me. Ready, Dad? Ready, son. We walked together, father and son, down that aisle that had been denied to me a year and a half before. This time was different. This time was real. Laura was radiant. James was nervous. I was proud. The ceremony was beautiful, simple, genuine. When the pastor asked, "Who gives this man?" James turned to me. My father, the man who never stopped believing in me. I couldn't speak. I just nodded and placed his hand in Laura's. At the reception, James gave a speech. 2 years ago, I was supposed to get married. On that day, I excluded my father. I pushed him away. I hurt him. And that marriage lasted 3 hours. Because something that starts with betrayal can never end well. The guests listened in silence. Today, I'm getting married again. But this time, my father is here by my side, where he always should have been. And I know this marriage will last because it's built on what's right, on love, on respect, on family. He raised his glass. I toast my dad, Robert Miller, the most stubborn, headstrong, and wisest man I know, who loved me when I didn't deserve it, who taught me when I didn't want to learn, and who never, ever let me fall. Everyone toasted. I cried, but this time it was from happiness, from pride, from peace, or that night, as the party was ending, James came over. Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. How did you know? How did you know that not giving in, that refusing me the money was the right thing to do? Because your mother taught me something before she died. She said, Robert, loving isn't giving them everything they ask for. It's giving them what they need, even if it hurts, even if they hate you for it, even if they push you away. She was right. She was always right. He gave me a long, sincere hug. Thank you, Dad, for everything. You're welcome, son. That's what I'm here for. Today, 2 years after all of that, the shop is doing well. James and Laura are expecting their first baby, a girl. They're going to name her Lucy, after her grandmother. Danielle is still a nurse, still visits me every week, still my little girl. And me, I'm still here, working at the shop, watering Lucy's plants, living a quiet life. Sometimes people ask me, Mr. Miller, don't you have any regrets? Didn't it hurt to refuse your son that money? And I tell them the truth. Of course it hurt. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But I don't regret it, because if I had given him that money, I would have lost my son forever. By not giving it to him, I got him back. And it's true, sometimes the greatest love isn't giving what's asked, but having the courage to say no, to set boundaries, to defend your own dignity, even when it hurts, even when it costs you. Because in the end, family isn't built with money. It's built with respect, with boundaries, and with true love. And that, my friends, is priceless. Well, that was my story. The story of how I almost lost my son and how, by setting a boundary, I got him back. Now you tell me, what would you have done in my place? Would you have given him the money, or would you have defended your dignity? Leave a comment, let me know what city you're listening from, and share this story with anyone who needs to hear it. With anyone going through something similar, with anyone who needs to remember that setting boundaries isn't a lack of love. It's the truest form of it. Thanks for listening to this old man, and thank you for tuning in to Whispers of Experience. Please don't forget to subscribe.